Hey everybody, well, welcome to my latest video here on YouTube. Today I've got a video about one of my favorite actors of all time, John Wayne. John Wayne, whose real name was Marion Robert Morrison, born on May the 26th, 1907, so he was going to turn, well, if he was still alive, he would turn 119 tomorrow. He'd be one of the oldest people in the world if he was still alive today. He was born in Winterset, Iowa, and died June 11th, 1979, aged 72, in Los Angeles, California, of respiratory arrest and gastric cancer. He was known professionally as John Wayne, was an American actor, producer, and director. Nicknamed Duke, he became a popular icon through his starring roles in films which were produced during Hollywood's golden age, especially in Western and war movies. His career flourished from the silent film era of the 1920s through the American New Wave, as he appeared in a total of 179 film and television productions. The Internet Movie Database has a total of 184 acting credits for Wayne, and by a quick scan over them, I found out that I have seen more than 50 of them, from Babyface in 1932 with Barbara Stanwyck, which I just saw last week or the week before for the first time, to Wayne's last film, 1976's The Shootist with Lauren Bacall. And I have a stack of about 13 DVDs over here that are all John Wayne movies that I've got in my own collection. And one of those is on this one, which has The Shootist on there. It also has The Sons of Katie Elder and El Dorado from the 1960s. The John Wayne triple feature. He was among the top box office draws for 3 decades and appeared with many other important Hollywood stars of his era. In 1999, the American Film Institute selected Wayne as one of the greatest male stars of classic American cinema. Wayne was born to a Mary Alberta née Brown and Clyde Leonard Morrison, a pharmacist. He was of English, Scottish, Ulster Scots, and Irish ancestry, and he was able to visit the land of his ancestors while making The Quiet Man with Maureen O'Hara, which came out in 1952. Here's The Quiet Man with Maureen O'Hara. There you go. His father developed a lung condition that required him to move his family from Iowa to the warmer climate of Southern California, where they tried ranching in the Mojave Desert. Until the ranch failed, Marion and his younger brother Robert E. Morrison swam in an irrigation ditch and rode a horse to school. When the ranch failed, the family moved to Glendale, California, where Marion delivered medicines for his father, sold newspapers, and had an Airedale dog named Duke, the source of his own nickname. He did well at school, both academically and in football. When he narrowly failed admission to Annapolis, he went to the University of Southern California on a football scholarship from 1925 to 27. Tom Mix got him a summer job as a prop man in exchange for football tickets. On the set, he became close friends with director John Ford, for whom, among others, he began doing bit parts in 1926, some billed as John Wayne. After losing his football scholarship due to a body surfing accident, he began working for the Fox Film Corporation. His first featured film was Men Without Women, from 1930, directed by Ford. He appeared mostly in small parts, but gained a leading role in Raoul Walsh's western The Big Trail, released in 1930, an early widescreen film epic that was a box office failure. He played leading roles in more than 70 low-budget B movies, westerns, and adventures, mostly routine. Wayne's career was stuck in a rut. He had not yet become a major name, but I happen to have one DVD collection that has 20 movies in it. A lot of these are his 1930s B movies like The Dawn Rider, The Desert Trail, The Lucky Texan, Neath Arizona Skies, Rainbow Valley, The Trail Beyond, Texas Terror, The Star Packer, Paradise Canyon, Riders of Destiny, West of the Divide, Winds of the Wasteland, Helltown, The Lawless Frontier, The Man from Utah, Randy Rides Alone, Blue Steel, and Sagebrush Trail. It also has 2 later movies that were bigger hits for him called Angel and the Badman and McClintock. And it has a bonus documentary called The American West of John Ford. In this other DVD here, John Wayne Collection Volume 2, also has some of the same movies on here. It has some of these low-budget early movies of John Wayne, such as Rainbow Valley, Riders of Destiny, The Lucky Texan, Helltown, Neath the Arizona Skies, West of the Divide, The Desert Trail, and Texas Terror, along with McClintock and Angel and the Badman. Just in case one of those copies ever gets wore out, I've got another copy, I guess. But in 1939, John Ford cast John Wayne in Stagecoach, the movie that made him a mainstream star, and many of his subsequent movies were of epic proportions. According to biographer Ronald Davis, John Wayne personified for millions the nation's frontier heritage. From 1942 to 43, he was in a radio series, The 3 Sheets to the Wind. And in 1944, he helped found the Motion Picture Alliance for the Preservation of American Ideals, a conservative political organization, later becoming its president. His conservative political stance was also reflected in The Alamo, released in 1960, which he produced, directed, and starred in. His patriotic stand was enshrined in The Green Berets, released in 1968, remembered for its hit theme song performed by Sergeant Barry Sadler, which he co-directed and starred in. One of the few movies at the time that was actually in favor of the Vietnam War. Wayne's other roles in westerns included a cattleman driving his herd on the Chisholm Trail in Red River, released in 1948. There's Red River, Joanne Drew. And one of his most common co-stars in movies, Harry Carey Jr. and Sr., also with Montgomery Clift. Then a Civil War veteran whose niece is abducted by a tribe of Comanches in The Searchers, released in 1956. I'll have more to say about that movie later. A troubled rancher competing with a lawyer, played by James Stewart, for a woman's hand in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, released in 1962, though it did not include the song performed by Gene Pitney, which was based on the movie's plotline. Here I have a DVD that includes The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance and El Dorado. I can't remember who wrote that. It wasn't me. It's pretty messy. Not my writing. But somewhere I got that at some time in the last 20 years or so, probably. And then we have a cantankerous one-eyed marshal, a cantankerous one-eyed marshal, Rooster Cogburn, in True Grit, released in 1969, for which he received the Academy Award for Best Actor, and included the hit title song performed by co-star Glenn Campbell. Wayne is also remembered for his roles in The Quiet Man, where he played an ex-boxer who killed a man in the ring and is trying to escape this unfortunate past. Rio Bravo, released in 1959 with Dean Martin and Ricky Nelson, with more songs in that one, sung by both of them. And The Longest Day, released in 1962, about the D-Day landings in Normandy. In his final screen performance, he starred as an aging gunfighter suffering from cancer in The Shootist, which he actually was suffering from cancer at the time when that movie was shot. Over the years, Wayne was beset with health problems. In September 1964, he had a cancerous left lung removed. And that was around the time when he was making a movie called Circus World, which also had a stunt that sort of went wrong. There's a scene in it where they burned down the circus tent, and it kind of got out of hand. The fire did, and John Wayne almost got trapped in the fire, but luckily he escaped. In 1977, when Star Wars was being made, John Wayne's archive voice was used. Later, in March 1978, there was heart valve replacement surgery, and in January 1979, his stomach was removed. Wayne made his last public appearance at the Academy Awards ceremony on April 9, 1979. In 1980, he was posthumously awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian honor of the United States. The Congressional Gold Medal was struck in his honor in 1979. He is remembered also for his parts in Ford's Cavalry trilogy, Ford Apache, released in 1948, She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, released in 1949, and Rio Grande, released in 1950. His resting place is Pacific View Memorial Park in Newport Beach, California. He was also known as Marion Michael Morrison. His middle name was changed from Robert to Michael when his parents decided to name their next son Robert, and Duke Morrison, which he preferred to Marion. Wayne was married 3 times and divorced twice, and had 7 children. He married Spanish-American Josephine Alicia Saenz in 1933, and had 4 children with her. Michael Wayne, an actor and film producer born in 1934 who died in 2003. Mary Antonia Tony Wayne LaCava, an actress with uncredited roles in The Quiet Man and The Alamo, born in 1936 who died in 2000. Patrick Wayne, an actor who appeared in 9 films with his dad, born in 1939, now 86 years old. And he appeared in one of my favorite movies, the cult favorite, Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger. And Melinda Wayne Munoz, an actress with an uncredited role in The Quiet Man, born in 1940, who died in 2022. Wayne and Josephine divorced in 1945. He married his second wife, Mexican actress Esperanza Bauer, in 1946, and they had no children. They divorced in 1954. On the same day his divorce from Bauer was official, he married Peruvian-born actress Pilar Palet, who had uncredited roles in John Wayne's I Married a Woman and The Alamo. Wayne had 3 children with the now 96-year-old Palet. Aissa Wayne, an actress in 4 John Wayne movies, 2 of them credited, McClintock, which is right here. There's McClintock, with Maureen O'Hara also. And The Alamo. And 2 uncredited, Donovan's Reef, the last movie he made with John Ford as the director, and The Comancheros. And Aissa was born in 1956 and is now 70 years old. Ethan Wayne, an actor, stuntman, and podcast host who had an uncredited role in Rio Lobo and a credited one in Big Jake, which I showed you guys at the beginning there, Big Jake. I think. Let's see. Nope, didn't show it yet. There's another DVD with McClintock on it, the Action Pack 3-pack. Also has Island in the Sky and The High and the Mighty on there. Yes, I have seen all these movies before. And here's Big Jake. That one had Richard Boone, great Western actor too. Also his own son, Patrick Wayne, was in that. And Robert Mitchum's son, Christopher Mitchum, was in that movie. And, of course, his most famous co-star, female co-star, Maureen O'Hara, also in Big Jake too. And also, Ethan Wayne went on to star on TV's The New Adam 12, the remake of the original Adam 12 cop show, and The Bold and the Beautiful, the soap opera. He was born in 1962 and is now 64 years old. He also appeared on TV's Pawn Stars, which I used to watch a lot, to authenticate John Wayne memorabilia that people brought into the pawn shop. John Wayne's 7th child is Marisa Wayne, a podcast host born in 1966, now 60 years old. John Wayne was a very tall man, 6'4.5" My favorite John Wayne movie, if I have to choose just one, would have to be The Searchers, a 1956 American epic Western film from Warner Brothers, directed by John Ford and written by Frank S. Nugent, based on the 1954 novel by Alan LeMay. I get to play Ben Mankiewicz here now. It is set during the Texas Indian Wars and stars Wayne as Ethan Edwards, a middle-aged Civil War veteran who, accompanied by his adopted nephew, Martin Pauly, played by Jeffrey Hunter, spends years looking for his abducted niece, Debbie, played by Natalie Wood. In 1868, Ethan Edwards returns after an 8-year absence to the home of his brother Aaron, played by Walter Coy, in West Texas. Ethan fought in the Civil War on the side of the Confederacy and in the 3 years since that war ended, he also apparently fought in the Second Franco-Mexican War. He has in his possession a lot of gold coins of uncertain origin, and a medal from the Mexican campaign that he gives to Debbie, 8 years old, played by Lana Wood. As a former Confederate soldier, when he is asked to take an oath of allegiance to the Texas Rangers, he refuses. Shortly after Ethan's arrival, cattle belonging to his neighbor, Lars Jorgensen, played by John Quaylen, are stolen, and Reverend Captain Samuel Clayton, played by Ward Bond, another common co-star of John Wayne in many movies, leads Ethan and a group of rangers to recover them. After discovering that the theft was a Comanche ploy to draw the men away from their families, they return and find the Edwards homestead in flames. Aaron, his wife Martha, played by Dorothy Jordan, and their son Ben, played by Robert Lydon, are dead, while Debbie and her older sister Lucy, played by Pippa Scott, have been abducted. After a brief funeral, the men set out in pursuit. When they find the Comanche camp, Ethan recommends a frontal attack, but Clayton insists on a stealth approach to avoid killing the hostages. The camp turns out to be deserted, and further along the trail, the men ride into an ambush. Despite fending off the attack, the Rangers are left with too few men to fight the Comanche effectively. They return home, with Ethan insisting on continuing his search for the girls, with only Lucy's fiancé, Brad Jorgensen, played by Harry Carey Jr., and Debbie's adopted brother, Martin Pauly. Ethan finds Lucy murdered, and it is implied raped, in a canyon near the Comanche camp. It is at this point that the scene, which to me is most memorable, occurs. The scene includes the characters Brad, Ethan, Martin. So Brad says to Ethan, "I found them. I found Lucy. They're camped about a half-mile over. I was just swinging back, and I seen their smoke. Bellied up the ridge, and there they was, right below me." Martin says, "Did you see Debbie?" Brad, No, but I saw Lucy all right. She was wearing that blue dress that she was..." And Ethan says, "What you saw wasn't Lucy." Brad says, "Oh, but it was, I tell you." Ethan, "What you saw was a buck wearing Lucy's dress. I found Lucy back in the canyon, wrapped her in my coat, buried her with my own hands, thought it best to keep it from you." Brad says, "Well, was she..." And Ethan says, "What do you want me to do, draw you a picture? Spell it out? Don't ever ask me. Long as you live, don't ever ask me more." These are the lines that stick with me from this movie. In a blind rage, Brad rides directly into the camp and is killed. When winter arrives, Ethan and Martin lose the trail and return to the Jorgensen ranch. Martin is enthusiastically welcomed by the Jorgensen's daughter Lori, played by Vera Miles, and Ethan finds a letter waiting for him from a trader named Futterman, played by Peter Mamakos, who claims to have information about Debbie. Ethan, who would rather travel alone, leaves without Martin the next morning, but Lori reluctantly provides Martin with a horse to catch up. At Futterman's trading post, Ethan and Martin learn that Debbie has been taken by Scar, the chief of the Noyeka band of Comanches, played by Henry Brandon. A year or more later, Lori receives a letter from Martin describing the ongoing search. Reading the letter aloud, Lori narrates the next few scenes in which Ethan kills Futterman for trying to steal his money, and Martin accidentally buys a Comanche wife who runs away when she hears Scar's name. Later, she is among the dead when the two men find a portion of Scar's band killed by soldiers. In New Mexico territory, they find Debbie after 5 years, now an adolescent, played by Natalie Wood, living as one of Scar's wives. She says that she has become a Comanche and wishes to remain with them. Ethan would rather see her dead than living as a Native American, and tries to shoot her, but Martin shields her with his body, and a Comanche wounds Ethan with an arrow as they escape. Although Martin tends to Ethan's wound, he is furious with him for attempting to kill Debbie. Later, they return home. Meanwhile, Charlie McCory, played by Ken Curtis, has been courting Lori in Martin's absence. Ethan and Martin arrive home just as Charlie and Lori's wedding is about to begin. After a fist fight between Martin and Charlie, a nervous Yankee soldier, Lieutenant Greenhill, played by Patrick Wayne, John Wayne's son, brings news that Ethan's friend Mose Harper, played by Hank Worden, has located Scar. Clayton leads his men to the Comanche camp, this time for a direct attack, but Martin is allowed to sneak in ahead of the assault to find Debbie, who welcomes him. Martin kills Scar to save Debbie. Ethan, finding Scar's body, scalps him for revenge. Ethan then finds Debbie and pursues her on horseback. Martin chases them desperately, fearing that Ethan will shoot her. Instead, Ethan sweeps her up into his arms and takes her to the Jorgensen Ranch, where Martin reunites with Laurie. While everyone else enters the house, in one of the most famous final scenes of any John Wayne movie, Ethan watches, then walks away. You might think this is strange, but I first became fascinated with John Wayne through a Denis Leary song called Asshole. Back in the mid-90s, my brother Larry got a tape of Denis Leary with a song called Asshole on it. Part of the song says, John Wayne's not dead, he's frozen. And as soon as we find a cure for cancer, we're going to thaw out the Duke, and he's going to be pretty pissed off. You know why? Have you ever taken a cold shower? Well, multiply that by 15 million times. That's how pissed off the Duke's going to be. I'm going to get the Duke, and John Cassavetes, and Lee Marvin, and Sam Peckinpah, and a case of whiskey, and drive down to Texas, and... If John Wayne was still alive in 1994 when that song came out, I'm not sure he would have been a fan of it, or of Denis Leary. He did have a sense of humor, but he also turned down roles in movies with actors who he thought were too off-color to fit his family-friendly image. Ever since I heard that song the first time, I have counted John Wayne and other tough guy actors, including those named in the song and others, among my all-time favorites, and watched as many of their movies as I could. I'll have a video about one of them, Clint Eastwood, coming soon, but on Wednesday, I will do one on my favorite baseball player of all time that I have seen play, Kirk Gibson, whose birthday is on Thursday. Also on Thursday is the birthday of my all-time favorite rock and roll singer, John Fogerty, but I am working Thursday, so that one will have to wait a few days until I get another day off. I will be singing my favorite John Fogerty song in that video, Bad Moon Rising, as well. I wrote Gibson's name down before Fogerty's on my favorites list, so I'm doing Gibby first. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this video about John Wayne, and I look forward to doing those other videos for you guys in the near future. But until then, thanks for watching and listening, and hey, be here next time, because I ain't even started yet. Have a good day, everybody.